Hi guys and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe and also click that notification bell if you enjoy what you've seen and if you want to see more. Coming up in this episode, 4 game reports from the NRL from Friday and Saturday mornings. Or evening, wherever you are. Now we look at 2 teams that are languished down near the bottom of the NRL ladder, as one is a big spender and the other, some say this is the downward trajectory that everyone expected for the club. As Canberra Raiders face Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs on our first game of Friday morning. We can go on with the incomings of the 2 squads, players going in, players going out for the 2022 season, but at this moment in time we can see in the ladder, the Bulldogs are 15th and the Raiders are 14th, and both could, well, one or the other could see themselves at the bottom of the table going into Saturday's rounds. The Raiders are buoyed by the fact that veteran captain Jared Croker has been named to play his first NRL game of the year, replacing Semi Valime in the centres. Jasny Nicol-Costa is also back in the number 1 jersey, shifting Jordan Rapana to the wing and Xavier Savage to the reserves. Adam Elliott maintains his starting position at hooker, with Sebastian Chris the new man on the interchange bench, but could be a late swap with Tom Starling on Friday. Harry Rushton and Sam Williams remain in the 19-man squad at the 24-hour update. The Bulldogs, who are buoyed after their win last time out, have skipper Josh Jackson returning from COVID-19 to take up his place at lock, which shifts Max King back to the bench and Billy Secredis suspension out of the 17 altogether. Brent Naden is also back on the right wing, replacing Jaden Ockenbo, who, along with Chris Patolo, remains in the 19 in the 24-hour update. Just a quick one, Max King has actually said that he would consider playing for England in the 2021 World Cup. There was one change for Canberra Raiders before the game, as Ryan Sutton switched back to the bench for the home side. It was a dominant 10 minutes in the opening half for the Canberra Raiders, with several repeat sets and penalties camping them down in the Bulldogs' end. Josh Adokar ran the length of the field, although he had knocked on first, meaning more pressure on the Dogs' defence that continued to hold strong despite mounting pressure. With their own efforts punishing their attempts for good field position, the Bulldogs looked to have conceded the first try in the 15th minute when Nick Kotrick went over, but it was deemed a double movement. In the next set, it was Matt Burton line breaking and had the Bulldogs fans celebrating as Josh Adokar crossed, but again it was ruled out due to an obstruction this time. There was no stopping the next try, with numbers out wide seeing Elliot Whitehead cross in the corner for the Raiders. The returning Croker missed the sideline conversion though. Canberra continued their field position dominance as the halftime break crept up, although Hudson Young crossed the line until the ref waved it back for a forward pass. 10 minutes from the half-time hooter, Jeremy Marshall-King was placed on report for a trip, as the Bulldogs lamented having just 4 tackles in the opposition half. The tired defence of the Bulldogs was shown up by their former halfback Matt Frawley, who threw 2 dummies and waltzed over under the post for what shortly was going to be 10 points to 0 lead. And it was Frawley again just minutes later, delivering a wonderful banana kick grubber for what appeared to be a Croker try, although replay showed that he did fail to ground the ball. So it was 10-0 at half time. Canberra ran out having not scored a try in the second into the second half since round 5. But it didn't stop them dominating possession. For 10 minutes, the Bulldogs continued to battle, inviting the Raiders into their half with errors and interceptions. A high tackle led to a penalty goal from Croker to extend their lead to 12. A further few attacking sets later, yet somehow the Bulldogs were up to their task. Although their defensive resolve was admirable, their attack left a lot to be desired, until a superb Burton chip kick found Josh Adokar. The ensuing set saw Burton take on the line and score himself. He failed to convert his own try as the gap remained at 8 points. The Bulldogs began to look more likely in possession, even as it evened out, but their clunky attack, there's that word again, was unable to come up with anything in good field position. A goal line dropout went out on the full, allowing Croker to kick his second penalty of the night and extend the lead to 10 once again. Burton attempted a trick play late in the game for Matt Duffy, who also won the race to the ball in the in-goal area, but knocked on as he was sandwiched between two defenders, including the unlucky Croker, who looked to have sustained a serious shoulder injury. After taking so long to get back into the first grade, working his way back through the New South Wales Cup, it'd be incredibly cruel if his career was to be over just because of this injury. Fingers crossed he recovers, as it's his first game back. The news got worse in the next set as Josh Papali'i stayed down, clutching his knee. However, he was able to continue. Some enterprising play gave the Bulldogs a chance at a consolation point, but they were unable to capitalise as Canberra snapped their 5-match losing streak. Full-time score: Canberra Raiders 14, Canterbury Bulldogs 4. Our next game focuses on two of the early pace setters in the NRL, as one team who is still unbeaten go against a team that has been a little bit iffy recently when it comes to their form, and that sees Penrith Panthers face the Parramatta Eels. The Panthers have won all 8 of their current NRL games and go into the game against the 5th place Parramatta Eels at the top spot. The Eels have won half of their games. Well, they've won 5 of their 8 games so far, and are looking to get one over the Premiers so that they can move back up the table. There's a double boost in the Panthers team for defending champions, with Ivan Clearing confirming that Brian Toto, who has been out with an ankle injury, and Moses Leota even, with a shoulder injury, are both right to go ahead and play. Toto will likely replace Charlie Staines, who is tipped to play at fullback in the New South Wales Cup, while Leota's inclusion would see him return to the run-on side alongside James Fisher-Harris. The pair remain in reserve for the time being. For the Eels, no late checks expected for the Eels. Tom Opicic, with a neck injury, returns to the backline in some much needed relief for the side and their injury woes. Dylan Brown returns to his usual 5'8" role, with Jacob Arthur shifting back to the reserves. So we're into the first half, and it didn't take long for Penrith to get on the scoreboard and look like extending that home record by another notch of not being beaten at home since before the COVID-19 pandemic. After being gifted the ball inside Parramatta's next 20-metre zone by the Eels error and then a set restart, the Panthers went to the blind side on the right, 2 tackles in a row, then the second one produced the try for Dylan Edwards, who crashed through Tom Opicic. The conversion was made to look easy and the Panthers led 6-0 5 minutes into the match. The game became an arm wrestle, following the Panthers try, and there was plenty of feeling in the game, showcased by a bunch of hard tackles. This brewed over in the 15th minute between Jerome Luai and Reid Mahoney, with a minor melee while play was going on in the backfield. The end result was a penalty for the Eels. Parramatta hit back not long after the scuffle. Belami Penasini attempted to crash over close to the line from dummy half, and although the Panthers' stern defence was able to stop Penasini from scoring, they were unable to stop the centre from a great offload, and Clint Gutherson was unmarked, waiting in support to collect and dive over to score. The conversion was good, and the scoreline was 6-all. At the same time, Vilami Kikau left the field. He was lying on the ground near where the Eels crashed over from. The Eels nearly scored again a few minutes later when Sean Lane provided a perfect deft grubber kick close to the line, but Hayes Perham couldn't quite keep his legs in the play when diving over and onto the ball. Parramatta were on top at this point of the first half, and they hit the front through their second try of the evening, which was the 25th minute. The 4-pointer was awarded by the video referee as a penalty try after it was judged that Reid Mahoney was denied a try after being held by a Panthers defender before accepting a beautiful offload close to the line by Lane. It was probably fair enough too, as Mahoney fell about an inch short despite the attention. The lead didn't last long that Parramatta got from that penalty try, as the Panthers struck back, this time through Brian Toto, who was returning from injury. Or so they thought, and also so did most people watching the match. The Panthers winger had scored after receiving a great flick pass from Stephen Crichton, but it was struck off by the video referee, judging that Liam Martin's decoy run caused a nuisance, which was enough to affect Dylan Brown's ability to stop Brian Toto. Both sides continued to play fast and hard for the remaining parts of the first half, with big hits and some great attacking play, and the Panthers looked more likely to score, which was what exactly happened with a minute to go until half time. The Panthers went to the left with a minute to go, and an unlikely grubber from kick-out found the unmarked Taylor May, who scooped up the ball and dived over. A rare missed conversion by Nathan Cleary ensured the scores were level by half-time. They were quite lucky though, the Penrith, as it looked pretty obvious that kick-out had missed. Well, there was an obvious knock-on missed by the match officials leading up to the try. With the scores tied at half-time, it was a perfect reflection of the game early in the second half, which both sides were giving plenty as well, but also giving nothing away at the same time. It had to be said that Penrith was increasingly looking more likely to score the next try as the second half wore on. The Panthers came close in the 54th minute when a neat grubber was forced a mistake and a fresh set of tackles 10 metres out from the Eels line. After going close on the right, the Panthers went left with the usual suspects involved, and an increasingly regular try scorer in May crossed in the corner. Kikawa had the pick for the lead up to the passes to the left with a lightning quick tap on to Isaac Tago, who then set up May for his second of the night. A missed conversion left the scores with the Panthers in the lead. Parramatta started to apply a little more pressure to the Panthers as the second half wore on, and they soon were rewarded with their third try of the game. After forcing a dropout, Parramatta scored on the next set as Gutherson dodged an oncoming Nathan Cleary, and a great run from Ryan Matterson found the gap, running a great line, and he charged over the line from 10 metres. Mitchell Moses added the conversion, and now Parramatta were in front. The Panthers were shocked, and at the very next set as the Eels increased their lead with back-to-back tries. The Eels put up their standard bomb kick on the last tackle, and Edwards let the ball bounce. And the ball bounced the best of bounced best for Eels as 5'8" Brown, who charged onto the ball and towards the line to score despite plenty of attention close to the line. With 10 minutes to go, and after a successful conversion, Parramatta led 22 points to 14. This would test the credentials of the premiers that were the Penrith Panthers. Parramatta came close to extending their lead in this set straight after the try, but the Panthers' defence held firm and eventually turned the defence into attack. Penrith needed to though, as the 8 points gap remained between the sides, but the minutes remaining were evaporating. With just over 2 minutes to go, the Panthers had reduced the gap to 2 points, with Spencer Leniu scoring. It was a relatively soft try as Api Carousel found the Panthers forward, charging close to the line and making light work of the Eels' goal line defence. Cleary sorted over the conversion quickly, and the Panthers were only 2 behind with a minute to play. Running out of time to draw level just with that minute to go, Cleary attempted a 2-point field goal, but it wasn't one of his better field goal attempts, and essentially ended Penrith's chances of keeping their long home record in attack, and also their 100% record in this year's tournament. The Eels slowed the play down with seconds left on the clock and thoroughly deserved their win over their western rivals. Parramatta have now beaten the invincible-looking Penrith Panthers and Melbourne this season. After a great way of proving that he could be a real force this season as the tight final matches come up at the end of the year, as they search for their elusive NRL title. For the Panthers, they are beatable. Something that looked the opposite from most of their games this season. They did dominate large parts of the game, but the Eels' defence was strong, and the Panthers' attack not quite as effective. You just feel there is still plenty to come from the Panthers. There were a lot of absences for the Panthers, as even their coach Ivan Cleary was at home due to a bad knee. But that didn't stop the Eels taking full advantage, and they won 22 points to 20 in the Panthers' own backyard. We now go on to first of two of the Saturday games, as we see the Manly Seagulls face the West Tigers in the game of two teams that are just outside the playoff picture. Looking at the league table, you see that Manly are in 9th place, while West Tigers are in 13th, 4 points behind their rivals today. Now for the teams, as we see the Seagulls change on game day, with Morgan Harper moving to the starting side at centre, with Ben Travojevic shifting to the second row, and Haumole Olukuatu dropping out due to illness. Joshua Alawaya will start at prop, with Martin Tapau moving to the bench. Kurt DeLewis has joined the interchange bench as well. Ethan Bullmore was promoted to the starting lineup in place of injured Joe Schuster, who has a calf issue, when the squad was trimmed to 19 24 hours before kickoff. Tom Trbojevic is on track to make a return, with Brad Parker and Jason Saab, the latest casualties, out after last week's loss. The Tigers, are numbers 1 to 17 with no late changes. Jock Madden is the 18th man. Luciano Leilua, hamstring injury, and David Nufaluma, who's got concussion, are both out, replaced by Alex Seyfarth and Ken Mulimalo in the starting side. Jake Simpkins, with an ankle injury, is back at hooker in place of Jacob Liddle. The big loss for Michael Maguire's men is the return of the big boost, should I say, for Michael Maguire's men, is the return of Stefano Utoikamanu, even, who is confirmed to return from his knee injury ahead of schedule. There was plenty of attack early on from both sides on a beautiful Saturday afternoon at Brookvale Oval. While night footy dominates for commercial reasons, there's nothing better than a sunny afternoon with plenty of free-flowing footy. And over 17,000 at the Oval would agree. Manly were almost the first to score after 11 minutes when Tom Trbojevic drifted across the field to pass to Ruben Garrick, who dropped it. There was another near miss for Ben Trbojevic chasing a Daly Cherry Evans grubber, but it was too big to get on the end of. Unfortunately for the Seagulls, they did their hard work by knocking on at the scrum. West were first to score after 25 minutes after Asu Kepawa. I'm sorry if I get these name pronunciations incorrect, I should learn by now. But it was pulled back for an obstruction. Manly punished the Tigers with Ben Trbojevic scoring his first NRL try, a fine moment with Ben playing with his brothers Tom and Jake. The Tigers suffered a blow 8 minutes before half-time after Utoi Kamanu was sin-binned. Manly quickly took advantage with Ruben Garrick scoring in the corner. Manly got their third try on the half-time hooter when Christian Tuipulotu scored in the right corner. Like a lot of wingers, he topped off a try with an acrobatic Superman leap. Garrick converted his first kick to give the Seagulls a 14 points lead. It was 7 straight games that Manly led the Tigers at half-time. While the Tigers had plenty of effort in the first half, Manly dominated possession with 58% of it and completing 22 out of their 26 sets, and brought the Wests at the back end with 2 tries after the sin-binning. While the West avoided any more damage with 12 men, Manly soon increased their lead with Daly Cherry Evans, in his 100th game at Brookvale Oval, ran 65 metres to score after great lead-up work from Tolatoa Kola. When Garrick missed the conversion, Manly still had a comfortable 18 points to the lead. Luke Garner, though, finally scored West's first try, running 75 metres as the Tigers went down the right edge. Not even Trbojevic Tom could stop him. Hastings converted to cut the margin to 18 points to 16. Tyrone Peachey looked to have scored for the West 2 minutes later, but knocked the ball on trying to ground it. Though the Tigers got the ball back after Manly knocked on in the lead-up as well. Peachey made up for it with an improved try this time, swooping on a Luke Brooks kick. Manly stretched the lead out to 30 points to 12 with tries to former Tiger Josh Alloway and a second try for Ben Trbojevic. 2 tries in his first 2 tries in one game. Hey, that's always good. But the Tigers refused to give up, with Oliver Gildart cutting the margin to 30 points to 16 with 11 minutes left, giving them a sniff. Ruben Garrick finally puts the game away with a lovely over the Harbour Bridge pass to Kieran Foran with 6 minutes left, pushing the margin out to 36 points to 16. Joe Offahengai scored for the Tigers, but it was too late. Overall, there were 11 tries and 58 points in an entertaining afternoon of football. Manly improved to 5-4 and had a blockbuster home Magic Round clash against Brisbane at Lang Park next Friday, while the Tigers have a big game against high-flying Cowboys next Sunday night. That all being said, the final scores are 36 points to 22 to the Seagulls. Our final game of the episode sees two sides that are a bit stumbly at the moment. One because they've really not taken off and not got any momentum, and others because they're playing in bits and bits. And that is the side between Sydney Roosters and the Gold Coast Titans. The Titans may have a couple of wins from their 8 games so far, but still find themselves only in 12th place, while the Roosters are on as many points as games played, as they've played 8 and got 8 points. With the two teams out, we see that the Roosters have Nat Butcher starting in the second row, with Sitili Tupanoa dropping back to the interchange bench in the only change to the Roosters team finalised 16 minutes before kickoff. Daniel Tupou and Paul Momirovski are named to return in the back line, shifting Kevin Nagama to the reserves and Adam Kieran out of the side completely. Billy Smith is nearing a return from a foot complaint, but will likely make a comeback via reserve grade after dropping out of the squad. The Titans will take to the field as they're named 1 to 17, with Jermaine Izako remaining in the squad as the 18th man when the lineup was finalised 60 minutes before kickoff. Patrick Herbert has since passed fit despite suffering a fractured cheekbone. Sam McIntyre replaces David Fafita, who has a knee problem, in the back row. Bill Sammy and Jaden Campbell drop out when the squads were trimmed 24 hours before kickoff. It was a strange old first half of footy in Mackay between the Sydney Roosters and Gold Coast Titans. The Titans started off in the best way possible with a try in the second minute after an error from Joseph Sula gave Bo Fairmore a chance to give his side the lead. It took the Roosters just 4 minutes to equalise through James Tedesco, and the Roosters performed by a sweeping play to the right with Luke Keary digging into the line and giving Tedesco room to move before his pass through to Manu, who broke a few tackles before returning the ball back inside for Tedesco, who scored his 100th try in the NRL. The game ebbed and flowed for a bit, with errors from both sides until Lindsay Collins was sent to the sin bin for a shoulder charge on Corey Thompson. The Titans trailed by just 2 points, and this was as good an opportunity as they were going to get back in front. However, the Titans failed to make their opportunities pay, and the Roosters started to gain some momentum and scored minutes later as they moved the ball down the right edge, even in similar fashion to the first try. This time it was Tedesco who took the line and scored with ease as he broke through the Titans' defence for his second try of the game. The Roosters kept the foot on the pedal with Joseph Sule, as he was able to redeem himself after a blunder that led to the Titans' first try. The Roosters once again went down the right edge before Keary cut through a cutout pass to the winger, who barged his way over to score in the corner. A few sets later, the Roosters had grabbed a 4th try. They once again went down the right edge on the last tackle, with Takiako at first receiver. but the Titans weren't expecting anything special. The forward threw a massive dummy and then burrowed his way over, with Sam Walker making his fourth attempt at a sideline conversion to put the Roosters up by 20 points. However, the Titans were still able to grab just before halftime, as Will Smith kick ricocheted off Angus Crichton and fell at the feet of Sam Lee-Sone, who picked up the ball and ran it over the try line to bring the Titans within 14 at the break. The Titans came out of the blocks in perfect fashion. They got on the score sheet as Herman SASA barged over with the Titans' third try. Unfortunately for Titans, it was as close as they were going to get to the Roosters and the win. The game went without a try for the next 20 minutes until an interception from Sam Walker swung the momentum to the Roosters. Moments later, Luke Keary delivered a pinpoint kick to his winger Daniel Tupou, who leapt high and brought the ball down to score in the corner. The Roosters couldn't be stopped now, as they took no time into getting back into the Titans' own end, and they decided to attack down the right flank once again. Tedesco received the ball at first receiver, took the ball under his wing and charged through a tackle to score the third of the night, his fourth hat-trick in the NRL. The home side marched their way down into the Titans' territory as the Titans continue to fail to prevent the Roosters gaining territory. This time the Roosters attacked down the left flank, and it was Keary's half-partner Walker who delivered the try. This time with a great pass over the top of the Titans' defence, which found Tupou, who scored in the corner for his second. The Titans unfortunately were unfortunate to follow up the kickoff out by putting it out on the full, allowing the Roosters entry into their end once again. They followed the trend of the match and attacked the Titans' right edge defence again and came up with another try as Keary's cut-out pass found Suwali on the wing, who charged for the corner and scored gracefully for his second try of the night. The Roosters turned it on tonight, and that'll hurt the Titans fans. There was plenty to talk about their performance on the Gold Coast this week, as they managed to have a fair share of the ball, but failed to convert that into any points, just as their opponents did. That being said, the Roosters were dominant and won 44 points to 16. And that's it for another episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video worldwide as we look to grow our wonderful sport even bigger with your help. The word is out as Leeds have got on their scoreboard first of all in the Women's Challenge Cup final. That's why I'm recording it as time goes on. Anyway, tell me what your thoughts are on the results this weekend in the NRL. 4 games down, 5 games down actually, but some good results, not too many shocks. Parramatta beating Penrith is the only shock of note so far this weekend, with 4 more games to go. No, I was right first time, 3 more games to go. Anyway, you tell me in the comments below which was the better result for you. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share this video worldwide. We need to grow the game. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode.